You are listening to the Eskimo Empire Podcast, a proud member of the Canadian Football Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Empire. It's the Eskimo Empire Podcast.
This is Trevor Harris.
Hey, how you doing? This is number 58, Travis Bond.
This is Christoph Malomba Chimanga.
Hey there, this is your co-host, Kenny Stafford.
Hey, this is Ryan King.
Calvin McCarty.
And you are listening to...
You're listening to the Eskimos Empire.
Listening to the Eskimo Empire Podcast.
The Eskimo Empire Podcast. Hope you guys enjoy listening.
Welcome back to the Turf District for the Eskimo Empire Podcast, and we are a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATB. And for any new listeners out there, I'm Andrew, and with me are my two friends, Superfan Mike.
Hello, hello.
And Commissioner Kayla.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Wonderful. Hey, good job. Grabbing that on the Thanksgiving Monday as we're recording this. How was your guys' Thanksgiving?
Yummy.
Oh, so stuffed like a turkey.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Exciting. Did you have down at the parents' house there, or were you in town?
Yes. If anyone was gracious enough to watch my Instagram stories, you may have had a bellyache from laughing so hard because my dad is a nut.
Okay.
He is a turkey.
He is a bit of a turkey.
He's crazy.
That's excellent.
Yes.
Awesome. Very, very good. And I know you hosted a ton of people over at your new place.
Yeah, it wasn't a huge amount. I think there were 8 of us total.
Okay.
Including us. So, but yeah, I got to make sure it was the first big meal we served at the new place. So that was kind of fun.
Awesome. Outstanding. Now, tonight, I don't want to get too far ahead, but we got together on Sunday, which we don't usually do.
It's true.
But we got together at Commonwealth to record the Eskimo podcast with Mark Majot, and Trent was there to record. And it was a ton of fun.
We were the OGs.
We were he actually called me the OGs, not just the O, which was what we usually get referred to as.
Original gangster?
No, just the old.
Oh, the old guard.
Old guard. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. See. Yeah. Needless to say, it was awesome.
Yeah,
it was
a lot of fun.
A lot of fun, and I want to thank Mark for taking the time and for the Eskimos for inviting us, because I thought that was a blast. And hopefully that'll be out in a couple of weeks, and we'll tag everybody, let them know when that's out.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Awesome. Now let's get to our guest, because we have
please.
so much to talk about this evening.
Our guest, questions coming.
Absolutely. Now joining us is a returning co-host back from the original days, those
Speaking
5 seasons ago. Absolutely. It is the one and only Josh. How you doing, man?
Well, hey, it's so nice to be here. I thought you would refer to me as a friend as well, because I consider you a friend.
Yes.
Very cool.
You are.
Our sons play football together, and
exactly. I was actually gonna talk about that, like life of football dads.
It's true.
We see each other now probably 3-4 times a week.
Yeah.
And between the boys' practices and games, and then going to the Eskimo games. So
at the tailgate, which is so good.
It's always fun.
Tailgating.
It's a huge deal, right?
Tailgating changes everything.
Did you read the article about Chris Presson?
I did read a little bit about it, but I didn't read all of it. I know you had, though.
Yes. So he
please.
specifically said he was considering seeing about switching where the tailgate is.
And where was he planning on switching it to?
To the northeast side.
Really?
Because that way people coming off the LRT would see it. So we'd have a ton of foot traffic. Oh, it's an interesting idea.
So now that would be in on the grass then, or were you trying to put it in? Otherwise, they'd have to go to the LRT.
Or do they shut down the? Do they shut down the road?
I don't know.
Everyone parks.
Wow. It's an interesting thought. So I don't know if that's something that's even doable, because, of course, it's the city that runs all of that area.
That's right, yes.
Oh, my goodness. So I don't know if he's even going to have any kind of sway there at all. But it'd be interesting. I mean, I do love our spot.
Yes.
But, if we had to change, you got to admit there'd be a ton more people coming by. A lot of people don't know where it is, let alone that it exists in the first place.
Right, you have to go around to get to the other side of it. So, I mean, as long as we still continue to have tailgating.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think the biggest
growing
thing...
it.
Yeah, the biggest thing that I did hear so far from Presson was that he felt that the tailgating was an amazing success, and he really liked the atmosphere and the feel, which, I mean, all of us sitting at this table will 100% agree with.
For sure.
I if they can find a way to make it bigger, hey, I'm all for that.
And not have like the separation of like the organization and the fans, and kind of like do a huge mesh. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be outstanding for sure. We talked about the tailgate. Let's the other. I know you and I have talked about this a lot, Josh, so I want to just bring this up. The crowds coming to the games. And, I mean, we did get a couple where we had some really good crowds in the summer where we had the general admission tickets. This one, obviously, a little less so, but I think part of that is...
Weather didn't help.
Weather didn't help, absolutely.
Yeah. And
the play of the team recently doesn't help.
And it's Thanksgiving weekend.
You said at the beginning of the season that you felt that because of the massive amount of trades and free agency, we're driving attendance even across the league. Mm-hmm. So many players moving. You look at Ottawa draining, a lot of them coming to Edmonton.
Sure.
All of these superstar players, and then suddenly people they got used to all of these star players, and now they're no longer there.
Yeah, it's hard to get attached to players when you know that next year they could be gone. I mean, even some of the star players you talk about that came here on defense only signed 1-year contracts.
Oh, yes.
So, I mean, I love Larry Dean. He signed a 1-year contract.
Right.
Javon Santos-Knox, who's we're finally seeing for the first time, may only play 3 games in green and gold.
Right.
So that's plus playoff.
Yeah.
So we'll have 5 games.
Is this the future of contracts in this league?
It's going to be hard to put the genie back in the bottle. I think I would love to see longer contracts, but I think a lot of people, especially in a non-guaranteed contract thing for the player, what's the incentive?
How did Ed Hervey convince Mike Riley to sign for 4 years?
Because he paid him a lot of money over that time.
Yeah,
so it's about the money. All right.
Yeah, and plus, he wants to stay close to home. So if the main reason is he wants to be close to home, why wouldn't he sign a long contract?
Of course.
There? So,
and some of these guys this year, I think, because there was that uncertainty with the CBA, all those types of things, a lot of guys were signing because they were signing before the CBA was done. They want to sign 1 year.
Sure.
If the situation is good, and then they know exactly what the money is that they're going to make, then they can renegotiate that now that the CBA is done.
Right.
I think that definitely played a role this year. I think we may see more, and I think my understanding, or I guess my feeling about it with Brock, is that he really does want guys to sign a minimum of 2. And that will be what's going forward. But I think we had a lot of 1 years this year solely because of the CBA situation. Right. But we're signing them in February, and the CBA wasn't done until May. Right. So I think that hopefully that will play a role in that. But but I agree with you. I think that's part of we're seeing a little bit less in the crowds. I'm really excited though to hear what more Chris Preston comes up with. And
he's got a great background.
Exactly. And so I'm excited about where this can go over the next year or so.
Some of the marketing already that's come out has been super impressive. Yep. It almost feels like he's got his thumb on a lot of that stuff because we haven't seen any of it before.
Yeah, not as much. No.
And I'm just wondering, because marketing takes a while to build too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he only started September 1st. So if he's only been here 6 weeks.
Right.
Some of this stuff may have been before him that they were starting to plan when they had Matty Johnston, for example, as the interim GM. So,
what do you think of the possibility that he may, even though he wasn't officially starting, that he may have still been doing meetings?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Getting some ideas.
Pretty big job, and he may have been transitioning out of, Arizona Rattlers?
Yeah, right. I thought it was Rattlers too, but maybe.
Yeah, it's been in a few different ones.
Yeah. So. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Okay, now this is totally off topic, but I did want to ask you. Nope, not that, because I don't need another 10-minute thing we have to edit out. No, it's. Did you guys happen to see the SNL Grouch trailer? Which is basically their take on the Joker, but it was Oscar the Grouch.
No, but that sounds amazing.
That's awesome. So wholeheartedly would say you gotta go find this.
This was Saturday night?
Yeah, it was on Facebook and on Twitter. I've seen it a few times.
We'll go find it.
And it's basically a dark version of Oscar the Grouch. It's outstanding. Outstanding.
That's fantastic. Okay.
Very much. I was hoping somebody had seen it, but we'll talk about it again another time. Other news that I just want to pass on podcast-wise. We are starting to set down some very low-level, ground-level things to possibly have a live show next spring.
Wow.
And so we are hoping that we can kind of put a few things together, but I want to just put that buzz out there so that people kind of know that might be a possibility and kind of gauge some people's interest.
Might lead to other ones.
Never know. might be
Wow.
fun. Absolutely.
Pretty cool.
So, before we get to the news, though, this episode is once again brought to you in part by the Alberta Forest Products Association.
Alberta loves its forests, and it shows. In the last 20 years alone, Alberta's forest industry planted and nurtured 2 billion trees. Strategic harvesting is helping slow the spread of the mountain pine beetle. Take that, you scourge of infestation. Oh, and Alberta's forest industry creates enough green energy to power 4 cities the size of Grand Prairie. If that doesn't power your heart in the process, chances are you need to learn more about your relationship with Alberta's forests. Go to loveabforests.com.
All right, let's get to our Esks news. So, Javan Santos Knox makes his first start as he finally hits the depth chart in a starting role.
He did a lot of things.
Oh my goodness, yes, and we're going to talk a lot more about that when we talk about the game in just a moment.
We won't be the only podcast talking about that, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Now, a few players were released from the PR and signed to futures contracts for 2020. Now, before we get into who those players are, Mike, you and I were talking a bit about what a futures deal is. So can you explain that for people who don't know?
Yeah, so the practice rosters do expand when you start getting the NFL cut. So you're allowed to bring in a small handful of players to every team's practice roster, which is only 10 players.
Right.
And to evaluate them and see how they are. At the end of that, you do have to release, if not them, somebody from the PR to get it back down to 10. And then those players you could sign to a futures contract, which means you still own the right to sign them again next year. Training camp. Because again, you've spent some time, maybe 5 weeks, working with these players, and you figured we want them, we just don't have the room for them. So you're able to say, I mean, that's what happened we had Matt Nichols as an example. Back in 2010, we had him at training camp after he had his NFL, not training camp, at the end of the year, after he had his NFL stint. And then we brought him back the following training camp, and he stuck with the team.
Okay. Perfect. All right, so that just gives a general idea of what that is. I talked to our friend Paul Reckner, and he said basically it's the CFL's equivalent to licking the silverware. So you can take your
well
person. Yeah, so I love that. So we got to throw that in there.
That's just way more eloquent than me,
isn't it? Yeah, I know. So the few guys that we did that: international linebacker Kaulana Apelu. I sure try. International defensive lineman Jeremiah Clark. Also easy for me to say.
Much easier to say.
Correct. International offensive lineman Tristan Nicholson and international quarterback Brian Scott. And so that was kind of nice that they at least have some plan already set out for these guys for next year.
They obviously liked them enough that they wanted to sign them to that.
Absolutely.
3 of those 4 guys were actually in the team photo.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Brian Scott was signed after the team photo, so he wasn't in there. But
I did not get a team photo because I was on the field doing kids club, and by the time I came back up, nobody was.
They'll have it at the team store.
What? The boxes should have still been there.
I will go to the team store and grab one soon enough.
They also were giving out coupons for a free backpack.
What? I didn't get one of those.
Tell us backpack.
Really?
Oh, I'm going to the team store
Raise
for one
your
of those.
fist.
I didn't get that.
There's only, I think, 1,950, I think was the weird number.
Oh, weird.
1950.
Yeah. Probably a fine year.
Sure.
We'll talk
my
about
dad
that in
was
the history segment.
Yeah. So that's good. Okay. Now, before we talk about the specifics of the game, let's talk about a really great part in the game as far as I'm concerned. The ovation for Calvin hitting 200. That was outstanding, well-deserved.
Shows how much he's loved.
Absolutely. I loved seeing people actually getting up for the standing ovation.
Can I just have a story moment right now?
You can.
So when we were in Calgary, I took Mama Jedi back to meet the players.
Yeah.
And I saw Calvin, and I think he kind of recognized a little bit, knows of me. But then he goes to Mom, and he's like, "Oh, hello," and grabs her and gives her a great big hug. And I'm just like, you just made my mom an even bigger football fan. Thank you so much, Calvin. That was just such a nice and he's just the most genuine person.
So he is the Eskimo way.
He
Absolutely.
is.
Yes.
He is.
Absolutely. Yes, he embodies it completely.
You know how sometimes when you meet a player or anyone and you can just tell when it's just it's a show. But with Calvin, he was just so genuine and actually cared that my mom was there and actually talked with her and included her in conversation, and it was wonderful. Yeah.
Oh, he's fantastic. Amazing, right? So yeah, he's so good. So I know my stupid watch keeps binging off. I think, yeah. Anyway, I need to put that away. All right, let's talk about the game itself, shall we?
Sure.
Edmonton finds a win, 19-3. Well, okay,
No,
it was to 6, but 3 was gifted by the referees.
Both of
them. I know, but definitely that first one. That
the second one, we knocked him out of field goal range, and then all of a sudden they came back, and Ben Major says, "Oh no, there was an offsetting penalty."
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah. So that's one of my 5 things to ask about.
Well, but you know what though? Here's the thing: the first one was egregious. The second one, they got and they did miss a field goal as well. So I think we beat them 19-3. But
that's fair.
Needless to say, let's talk about the first one, which is in our moment, because it totally is. How in the world is that pass interference that gives them that first field goal? It's not, right?
It's not.
No.
You have to say it louder.
It's not.
Thank you.
That's the volume I'm used to. Yes.
He turned me down. I can hear it.
Everyone in their cars just crashed. Yeah. What the hell? That was ridiculous, right? Most ridiculous call?
Yeah.
Ever?
I don't know, whatever, but that's just bad.
Me.
Yeah, it was horrible.
I've seen a lot of bad calls, but that was... Oof.
I don't get
even
it.
Bad. It was just astronomically like, what space and time were you actually viewing this play? None, because it didn't exist.
Yeah. That's true.
No.
Yeah. Okay, but here's the thing. And we talked about this a bit on the Periscope. I could get over the fact that there's some human error and it looked like it, and the referee flagged it. It still is like, you still shouldn't have called it, but I get where he might have had something go weird and just, this is a flag.
In his head, like a...
But for it to go to the command center and then come back...
I think the command center is why he called it.
You think so?
Yeah, because I think the referees call the game differently because there's a command center. If you don't have a command center, then you know that your call is it.
Oh, I see.
But if you have a command center, you'll be like, well, if I call it, at least the command center can look at it. If there's no command center and he's not sure, he won't throw the flag.
That means that there's no... They're abdicating responsibility?
It's a little bit.
Yeah.
Wow. This is one of my... So every time that a call goes against the Eskimos so blatantly, it reminds me of something you and I spoke about earlier this year, Andrew, that the Eskimos get penalized so often in this league that the refs are instinctively throw the flag. Yeah.
It's always been that way. I mean,
and that they don't have any capital. They have no emotional capital for the refs to say, you know what? Yeah, you know what? You usually don't do this.
You change the jerseys, but it's the exact same play. You might have a different result.
It feels like they're writing blank checks, right?
So you all feel this way as well.
But it's always been that way. I mean, in the late 70s and early 80s, we actually got less calls because we were such a powerful team. I think the referees didn't look for it as much.
Right.
But when you're playing a team that is, always getting penalty, always going off, you're like, okay, watch this guy because something probably is going to happen this game. And so you watch him and... There's holding on every play. There's illegal blocks on every return. Right. But if you're watching for it, then you'll see it.
Right. Now, do you feel there's been so much talk about Jason Moss as head coach, and this is top-down management. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like this at this point in his tenure, it's still a Jason Moss problem?
I think players have to watch it, right? I mean, TSN focuses on him constantly, even though he's gone very long without having this big meltdown where he's breaking things. I mean, he still lost his marbles in this game, but it was rightfully so.
It was justified.
Okay, and Jedi gets the line of the night at halftime when she said to me, this is the one time where the entirety of the Empire was absolutely on his side to throw something, especially if it was going towards that ref.
Yep.
Like, it was because that was like... Any coach, I don't care which coach it is in the league, would have also been losing their mind over that call.
Yes.
And especially when the command center didn't overturn it. Like, you've got to be kidding me, right?
Now he's just become a scapegoat at this point.
Absolutely.
But La Police, he's a hothead. Who can forget him throwing his headphones down at the 13th Man episode of the 2009 Grey Cup?
Right.
Or
oh my gosh, that's right.
That was a great time, by the way.
It was excellent.
Cavis Reed, same kind of thing.
Sure.
O'Shea. He's a pretty emotional guy.
Right.
But it's Moss that's getting on this tag that way.
Me every single day. I'm just kidding.
Not a video podcast.
Are you throwing your flags all the time? Every day?
Something like that.
She's French.
And so this was another one of my 5 questions for the podcast.
Excellent.
Kayla, this is directed at you.
Excellent.
Does the command center replay kill the momentum of this game? And is it destroying it for younger viewers who are like, come on, let's go. Let's get on with this?
I think it goes either way. I think sometimes absolutely it does, and sometimes the command center should be there in this case. But like you said, it kind of now puts the onus on the command center where the referees are going to just throw the flag and be like, okay,
bail me out if I'm wrong.
Go, yeah.
Right.
I mean, yes and no, because I've seen the command center screw up so many times, and it's not even just the NFL, it's the CFL, it's the NFL as well. Last year, I bring it up all the time, it was the Saints. This year, it's the Eskimos.
Interesting.
So it really depends on the team, because if you're on the opposite side and you're like, damn, that command center just saved us and gave us 3 points.
Absolutely.
Or gave us
2015 Grey Cup.
Yeah, well, it helped us.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. 2015 Grey Cup. If there wasn't a command center, we might not have a Grey Cup.
And
Good
pros
point.
and cons,
right?
Both sides, right? Like, you have to pick your battles. But, again, when they are so egregious, it is insufferable to sit through this crap. Especially when you see it on a huge screen and not a light bright, as Mike used to watch at the game.
Sometimes I still do.
Beautiful
Sometimes, yes.
Beautiful
Okay.
pixels,
Yep.
great definition, and you're like,
High def.
there was no contact. Why is the command center saying that? Like, it.
Do you think it's driving viewers away?
Yes, because we live in a very ragey culture. I am note of that. Millennials we are very ragey, and we go on social media, and like, I think it is because
I have no problem with coaches tossing the flag, but this constant review process, I think it needs to change.
It definitely slows it down.
Every turnover, every touchdown, everything needs to. They check everything.
But even sometimes too, I don't understand. I would like to actually sit in the command center and educate myself on how they call and what they see, because there's a few times in this game where the ball broke the plane. Why is that not a touchdown? From my view, I am right on that line. I saw the ball break the plane. Why is it not being called a touchdown? Explain that to me, because the CFL Ops Twitter doesn't explain it at all. They're just like, it was agreed upon that was not a touchdown.
Do you know, tonight, Green Bay and Detroit.
Yeah,
they have this overhead cam right on the 1 yard line, right on the goal line. It's beautiful, and you can see it. And I haven't seen that in the CFL.
No, it's
different camera rigging.
Money,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Plus, Commonwealth isn't really set up the same.
Right.
Because it is so wide and so long, getting that line across there makes it tough.
Right.
But it's pros and cons to both, right?
Yeah,
like, you
absolutely.
kind of have to advance with the technology, but at the same time, if the technology have those people behind them that's not actually calling the correct plays, and I'm not going to be corrected because that was the incorrect call on that PI, and everyone can agree. Why are you there? Why are we paying your bills to F up that badly?
And so who is in that booth?
And that's the thing, is they don't really announce who that is.
But Superfan,
Jake Ireland is definitely one of them.
The head referee.
Or has been. I don't know if he still is anymore.
Oh my God, I just did it.
That's
I'm sorry, Andrew.
That's fine. That's all good.
I just knocked the mic. Tom Higgins did that for a while. Didn't he pioneer it?
No,
too?
I think Jake was always the first, but I don't know. Either way, whoever it is, they need to be, I think, made more accountable. We need some transparency there to find out who these people are. Like, when they announce the referees, they should announce who the command center is at the same time.
Good point.
Do you think there's also, there's obviously not going to be 100% objectivity, and do you think that could play a role in decision making?
Well, that's the conspiracy theory.
But we've had Bud Steen on here a few times now, and he says that the referees are trained enough, because obviously it's not a full-time job for these people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If they were full-time jobs, they could have even better training, which is another topic altogether.
Absolutely.
That they don't think and throw the flag, they react. They're just looking, something happens, they throw the flag, so they don't even notice who's
on the
doing
ref,
it. Right.
but the command center.
The command center, I don't know.
I'd like to
Occam's razor, right? Where you think that
the simplest,
explanation is the correct
usually,
one.
I just can't. I wish they would explain it better. I think maybe we would all be more appeased than just the explanation that they gave us, because we can all agree that wasn't actually.
If they at least said we screwed up,
that's right. Yep.
Yeah.
But then everyone else will be like, "Well, then why?"
They'll do that on Tuesday.
But again, it didn't affect us that much. Thank goodness.
It didn't. Thank goodness.
If we had lost the game, and that was why.
Hasn't the CFL said before?
Sure they have.
Oh yeah.
I remember
it didn't affect Commissioner twice.
Yes, and it says this has affected the outcome of the game.
Yeah,
that is
Hamilton,
that is a massive mistake with all of the fail-safes in place.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people say, listen, it shouldn't come down to a single play, but it does, right? I mean, when you have a close game, you can't have both sides where it's like no lead is safe, but you can't have one play affect a game. Well, if it's going to be that close because it's that exciting of a game, then one play can definitely.
Yes.
The Saints is the best example.
That's the wrong league, though. I get it.
It's football. It's like
football.
the gleaming
Are you a league
example.
snob?
No, not. No, but going back to your question, though, Josh, I thought this year, at least at the beginning of the year, I thought they did much better at the flow of the command center, that it was happening when there was the TV timeout, that there was some... It didn't seem like we were waiting so long for calls, but as the games have gotten later into the year, it seems like the review process is taking 5 minutes instead of 2.
100%
and
agree.
I really wish that it would be, here's your time limit. You have 2.5 minutes.
Right.
If you don't have a decision, then it's inconclusive and done. Let's move the game on, right?
But
I thought they were better at that at the beginning of the year.
You've touched on this in the podcast too, and there's the ref that you've brought up, Superfan, and I forget, is it Bradbury? Al Bradbury.
Bradbury takes forever.
So once you said that in the podcast earlier this summer, I started watching him, and I compare him to my arch nemesis Andre Prue,
who is the best ref in the league,
and he is. He's brilliant.
Yes,
and that's why he's frustrating, is because he's never wrong, and he pisses me off. The Sean Fleming field goal that was called back on his last game. Anyway. Bradbury and Prue are opposite sides of the coin.
Yeah,
Prue has full confidence in what he's calling, and he goes out there and he calls it. And Bradbury takes
Kim Murphy is the same way.
Forever.
Kim Murphy is very, very confident in every one of his calls.
Yes.
Bradbury doesn't even look confident.
No. Same with Croker.
Even when he's saying
Croker
it out
seems
loud.
very confident in what his call is.
Bradbury, I think, I don't know the man
He looks
at all.
nervous.
He also... He strikes me as someone who likes being on TV because he is making calls all the time.
But he takes forever to do it.
Yeah.
Prue says it and then gets out of the way.
With his French accent.
It was an accident.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's still my favorite.
He's amazing.
The offensive line made them go offside. Yeah. Is that what it was? Yeah, that was. I mean, they're so good. But anyway, all right. Let's talk about this game some more, because this is we got to get through this stuff.
We do.
Let's talk about some goods. So, do you have any goods in the game there, Josh?
Oh, I'm pouring beer right now. Just saying.
Excellent. Okay, that's important.
I don't have a choice. Drink the pumpkin.
Beer is good.
Drink the pumpkin.
Beer is good. There's anyway. So ever since, and it's one of my top 10 things about the podcast list. But
we're going to do that after the break.
I'll get to it, but I'm going to talk about it now. Ever since, no, not the list, because it's your podcast.
Sure it is.
As you've made very clear the last 3 or 4 podcasts. Everyone, this is my podcast. So you guys were talking about it again earlier this summer, and I've been watching the O-line very carefully. And I found that the O-line worked super hard this game, and there was some differences. The amount of time that Kilgore had to throw, but the holes that Shaq had to run. But I wasn't sure if that was, and my dad and I were talking about this after the game, I wasn't sure if that was a Shaq thing, because, man, does he scat well. And I can't tell if he is a better scat than Gable, because Gable, man, he plows. But, man, does Shaq seem to find those holes, or was the O-line better this game than they have been previously?
I'd say Shaq. He's way more elusive.
I think it's a combination
I think it's
of things.
both, yeah.
And I don't know if is it our offensive line, or is it because the defensive line in BC is so much lighter. I mean, when you have Odell Willis as a defensive tackle.
Yeah.
I mean, defensive tackle is usually 300 pounds. Odell is not 300 pounds, and he's right in the middle.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you've got, I mean, we have a smaller, shiftier back. He's more of a scat back.
Yep.
Versus Gable, who's more of a power back. Gable's the issue for me is he dances before he hits the line. He's not as confident about just hitting where he thinks the hole should be and going.
Right.
He stops and looks, and by that point, he's lost all momentum.
And Shaq doesn't.
Shaq just doesn't. He just goes. But he also has the ability to go around the outside and get the outside.
Yes.
So you have to be more honest as a defense.
Do you prefer Shaq at this stage of the season?
I prefer a back that can be multi-dimensional, but at the same time, Gable's a much better blocker.
Well, that's what I've heard. Shaq can't block like Gable can.
Right, and nobody
They're
can. I mean,
super
John
different.
White is famous for his blocking, but I don't think his blocking has been as great in the last year, for sure. At least the games I've seen of him.
Right.
So.
Yeah, no, I would agree.
And they're just different statures as well, right? Like,
yeah.
you think
totally.
of CJ Gable as a tank, where Shaq is more like a jet.
He's a viper.
Yeah.
Viper.
Yeah.
A little Battlestar Galactica for you.
That's well done.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah, we've got a lot of science fiction going on here this evening. Okay.
Oh, nerding so hard.
I love it, but still. Got any goods for us, Kayla?
We won.
Yeah, that's a good.
That's
That is
good.
a
We made
good.
the playoffs.
That is
That's
a
pretty
good.
That is very positive.
Well, I don't want to take away from anyone, but man, did y'all see 5 across the field all the time?
Absolutely.
It's so nice to see him out there.
Dang!
Yeah, that was a huge good for me.
And he looked excited to be there. Like, genuinely
did you see that
excited to play.
interview?
And grateful.
I retweeted that interview he did, and you could just feel his enthusiasm and his thankful. Like he gained a fan in me just because of that interview he did. Like, he's a great player, but to see that enthusiasm and how excited and grateful he was to be back on the field was monumental.
You just hit.
Yeah.
You just knocked the nut.
I did.
I became a deeper fan when he was on the pod at the beginning of the season. That interview you did with him, Andrew, that was something else.
And he's
a smart guy.
He's a great dude. But I agree. He only had one actual recorded tackle.
Yeah.
But he seemed to be everywhere on the field. Like, he was in the midst or right there to make while the guy was tackling. Like, I was so impressed with. Now, granted, he's got fresh legs. He hasn't been playing all year, so that's going to contribute.
But he's also rusty.
But exactly. But man,
any penalties?
Can you imagine? I don't. He didn't get one.
I was going to say,
no.
In general,
he was one of the few.
No penalties for him.
He was one of the
penalties
few.
for the others, which is one of my questions.
Yes. We'll get there. Any goods for you, Superfan?
I think just seeing us come together and do well from the start was something that I was very happy to see. I was on the BC Lions Den podcast before the show, and they were positively giddy coming into this game.
Wow.
And I even said on the show that you guys really haven't beat anybody yet.
It's the same. They did say that too.
That's very straightforward of you.
But it's just they beat Toronto twice, they beat Ottawa twice.
No,
and
it was Ottawa twice, Toronto once, and Montreal without Vernon Adams Jr.
But they beat them twice.
In a row. Right?
In a row, yes.
Yeah.
But they beat that's all. They only have 5 wins,
right?
And those are the 5, right? And they beat them again without Vernon, just like us.
Yes.
The difference is we beat BC twice up to that point,
right?
So they said that because they talked about, well, if Saskatchewan comes, there's no problem. We'll handle Saskatchewan. Next week coming up, and I'm like, okay, and that's fair.
Yeah,
they follow the team far closer than I do. I just when I watch, I don't see it. I just see them beating up on teams that they're supposed to beat up on.
Right. Yeah,
and it's going to be a lot harder now.
Right. And now, now we did.
Yeah,
we did what we were supposed to, right?
I read just today that they had only dressed 2 quarterbacks. That what would have happened had Danny O'Brien gone down?
Then they would have had a receiver or
somebody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
well,
kind of
especially
scary.
considering what the rule is going to be next year.
That's right. Next year, the rule is only 2 dressed quarterbacks.
Period.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
When you look at the amount of
roster.
when you think of the amount of injuries, and now of course, and all I should put this out there. Of course, we put all the best to Mike Riley because
no question.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a crappy way
Once
to go
an Eskimo,
down,
always an
and just in general, this league needs its stars.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Clean hit. When Kwaku got him,
It was just a matter of time at this point.
and just went down on his wrist, and that was it. So.
Well, I mean, a man can only take so many freaking tackles and
I'm surprised
sacks.
it was his wrist and not his tailbone.
Right?
Honestly,
His whole
Seriously.
body didn't break. It
he
sucks.
He's a tough man.
He is.
He ran off the field holding it.
Yep.
And there's recorded
Live
audio
mic,
on
yeah.
TSN that says it's broken, man.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
geez, you are a tough guy.
Did
Yeah.
anyone
Wow.
hear the speech afterwards? That almost made me cry.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did. I saw the one.
Oh,
It was
it's on the BC Lions Twitter.
Yeah.
It was Willis, and then it was
Mike.
Riley who
Yeah.
came in, and it had me
still
in
a leader.
tears.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was on the sidelines with a broken wrist,
Yeah.
coaching
Yes.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Danny-O.
right.
Yeah. We did get to do a little bit of Run Dobby Run.
We did.
Great. Dobby is a free elf. Okay. He hates us, but I still think it's funny. Okay. My good for this game, I'm actually going to go to the cover teams in this. The cover teams were great, and that tackle by Hutter was unreal. He was like a cannon out down there, and
I felt
beautiful
it in
tackle.
my seats.
Beautiful tackle. I loved it, and all the points to him. And we should give a shout out to Ellingson, who had 6 catches for 133 yards.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Just outstanding.
nice to
player.
have, especially when he was limping and we didn't know if he was even going to play the game. Now
Right.
he's there,
Yeah.
catching them all. So
Jellingson?
that was good. Now we do have a couple of bads to talk about. We did bring up one already. 3 shots at the 1 yard line. Supposedly no TD. Although I think that second one did go over.
Yeah.
But we didn't get one.
Didn't
And
get one.
I don't.
When you have 3 cracks, to me, you should be trying different things to keep them
Oh,
out.
so
Absolutely.
So there's my third of the podcast questions.
Excellent.
1 yard plunges. Where's the creativity? Why go up the middle every time? Why
Well,
not?
when you have 3 shots, why
Why
go
not
up the middle every time?
Fake
Right.
to the sideline? Why not run a little bit and go the outside? What happened?
Like James Franklin did. Did
Right.
you see that play?
Or
Sure did.
Cody
Yeah.
Fajardo. He's been very good at,
Yeah.
one he'll lean in, next one he picks up and runs to the left
Yeah.
and jogs out the side.
Right.
And at that point, if you missed it the first time, what's the harm in doing it a second one and ending up on the 1 again and
Yeah.
then
Absolutely.
trying to
As
lean
long
it
as you
again?
don't end up on the 5.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Okay,
but
so now-
really, I mean, a 0 or at least 3.
Yeah.
Try something.
Well, so Andrew, was
obviously
this-
the lean-ins aren't working
Was
without
this
Trevor Harris.
Was this the play call, Andrew, or was this the player?
I think it was execution.
I think it was execution because my feeling is that on the 1 yard line, you should be able to push to get 1 yard, especially 3 times. Like once I get it, they're going to stop you, but
Right.
Especially
3
when
times?
you've got
Come on.
Matt O'Donnell at 350
How are you
pounds.
not in behind Matt O'Donnell?
So this
Like,
is
I
where
don't
I
understand
heard.
that.
Like I saw Anto after the game at tailgate, and she said that O'Donnell had to he had to calm himself on the sideline, and I wasn't sure if it was after that. It was because of that 1 yard plunge, but this goes back to the O-line thing that we were talking about earlier. I mean, great O-line productivity, except for that moment. Is this solely O-line? Or was the quarterback missing something? What was wrong that they couldn't figure out to go just slightly to the right or just slightly to the
Well,
left?
was really Williams going down or straight forward? Like, because I know James Franklin likes to stay upright
Right.
and push through, but I think that Williams was trying to get
Submarine.
lower.
But you just
Trying to
have
get a
to
bit
put
lower,
the ball
right.
over. Like
and
you didn't do that.
arguably he could have.
He kept it close, didn't he?
Yeah, he kept it close to his chest.
So
yeah.
he was afraid of a fumble.
Which,
to be fair,
Or
I
he
would.
just securing it in general. That's
Yes.
the way he holds
Yep.
it, whatever. But
yeah.
if you're going for a 3rd and 1 on the 25, that's very different than if it's 3rd and 1 on goal line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
the rules are different.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
and boxes are stacked differently. So
Yeah,
that,
he's a
that's
young
my-
guy, right? So
Yeah, that was my one. I was like, that's not so good because I already know what your bad's going to be. So go ahead.
yeah, those penalties after the whistle,
Right.
Yes,
they have to stop.
14 penalties for 170 yards. We almost gave up 2 football fields of penalties.
Yeah.
When you set the line at 11.5, I thought it was funny.
Here
We
go.
both went under. It
Here
was
we go.
completely over.
Against BC, we tend to do that. We
Absolutely.
have higher penalties. I mean, we have bad penalties anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, we have had, 16 games now, and of those 16, we have led in penalties versus the other team
Yes.
14 times.
Yes.
Once we tied, and only once have we had less penalties than the other team in a game.
Okay, so this is my 5th question to the podcast.
Hey, we're hitting them all.
No,
That's
it's
great.
all. Now, am I allowed to talk about any particular player? Is that
Sure.
appropriate? All right.
Sure.
So last week, Superfan, you said that you were at the end of the cast. You said that you were going to watch Money Hunter
Yeah.
specifically. Money Hunter. After
Not
the
a
whistle,
video podcast,
so
Kayla.
I decided to. Yeah, and there's the face.
Yeah.
I've heard about this face. Anyway, I decided I was going to do the same thing. After the whistle, Money Hunter goes to the bench and he lips off at the BC bench.
And gets the 15-yard taunting penalty.
So now I'm back to ask you, Superfan. Moss said this at the beginning of the year. We're not going to tolerate this. American linebackers and defensive backs, dime a dozen, says Ed Hervey to me 4 years ago when Andrew and I were hanging out. Why are we putting up with this? Is Money Hunter so amazing that we cannot live without him? Because Taekwon Glass, I think, he looks pretty good out there.
Part of the issue is our healthy scratch was Josh Johnson.
Yes.
So we were down a DB anyway. He was not healthy.
He's not
you
healthy.
said so yourself. Josh Johnson is really good on the outside.
He is, but he wasn't healthy enough to play this game. So that's why he was scratched. Devarius Daniels was benched at the end of this game.
Yep, because he did that shot.
Oh, I heard about him talking to Devarius Daniels.
He got a 15-yard penalty for unnecessary roughness after the whistle.
Jason told him to take a seat.
Yep, sure did.
So now Money Hunter gets put back in because we don't have anybody else?
Don't really have somebody who can play that DB spot.
No, I mean, once we start getting guys like Arjun Colquhoun back, and we start making that field corner non-import spot, national spot, Canadian.
Well, and now that Hightower is back too,
with
right?
Hightower, then you've got Taekwon Glass, then you might have Anthony Orange back, maybe you've got Josh Johnson, Brian Walker.
Can you shuffle around a little bit?
Sure.
How does Money Hunter return to the bench after that, and everyone say, "Good job, dude. You're playing the Eskimo way." And we're talking about Calvin McCarty earlier, emphasizing that. Do we see?
I got no answer for that.
Is he an Eskimo next year?
Why would he why would you want him to be?
He just doesn't seem to exemplify everything that they talk about.
Over and over again, but that's the problem is it's not a one-time thing.
No.
It's consistent.
And if he was that
we are not picking most improved Eskimo next year.
No, we are not, because both of us were
But I guess you guys and the podcast talks about all the time about the Eskimo way and are they so amazing that we can live with these penalties? And I've been watching him very carefully the second half of the season, and I just don't find him to be so incredible.
He's very athletic. He's got a lot of... And I think the issue is they see so much potential in him, they're trying to groom that out of him, and I don't know if it's not possible or just they're not the right people to do it.
I see.
Right, and it could be either. I think, though, too, and Dave Campbell said this on Twitter afterwards, was that the defense was playing with a real edge, and with they are going to get some penalties. Like that's going to happen, but it's this after the whistle stuff that needs to go away.
Taunting is not an edge.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not an edge. No,
that's just being a fire trucker.
Yeah, there's no exactly that. Don't be Deron Carter. Really?
Don't.
There's no reason
unless
to
you're
do
selling
that.
a penalty, apparently.
Exactly. Excellent point.
But I guess are we so frustrated as a team that we have to do these after the whistle penalties?
Well, I think other teams plan for it. They know that they can goad us into it.
That's too bad.
And it works. I mean, you saw Santos Knoxon, as you said earlier, he was clean. The person he replaces isn't often clean. Now, I mean, I love Vontae Diggs. We're talking about a raw rookie.
Yes.
He's got incredible talent.
Vontae, you could overlook some of his penalties because he's so incredible.
And
it's
he
not
takes
every
accountability.
Game. No, he doesn't.
Yeah, he's also very accountable.
Yeah. He does. Yeah, exactly.
But, I mean, that was a difference, right? I mean, knowing that you've got a spot with odds are good, you're not going to take a penalty at that spot, it's got to help the coaches going in.
Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so definitely a continued issue. Let's just put it with that. Any other bads in the game you want to bring up, Kayla?
Oh, that just had me fuming.
That was
in the stands. That just sticks out like a sore thumb. I was just livid.
Yeah. Yeah, I a few times in that game yelled out, "Somebody take Hunter off the field!"
Right.
He's obviously not. He can't get himself controlled. Sadly, the people around me could hear me.
I'm on the other side of the stadium, and I heard you.
Yeah, get him off the field. Anyway, all right. Let's talk about player of the game. Josh, do you have a player that you would say was kind of stood out to you?
Yeah, Shaq Cooper and Jovan Santos Knox.
Perfect. Kayla?
Oh, I gotta give it to my Donnie. Had a game. 5 tackles and 2 quarterback sacks.
Yes, that's very true. Yes, nice. Yeah. Unamba had a hell of a game.
Yeah, I thought so too. I think every one of those is a great pick. I thought Kwaku had a fantastic game as well.
Mondu had a great game.
Yes, Mondu.
There was actually a Mondu too.
Yes, I've heard about the Mondu. Yes.
I mean, you give it to a lot of people. I mean, nobody's mentioned Logan Kilgore. I mean, he maybe statistically didn't play great, but you bite off part of your tongue.
He's tough.
And play, like on the first series, and then play the rest of the game and see how well you do.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, that's...
Even trying to communicate.
Exactly.
Swollen tongue. Blue left.
I thought that was outstanding.
Yeah.
I mean...
Good Lord.
We didn't know that until the end of the game, most of us in the stands. No. And after that, like... That guy earned a lot of respect.
Yeah. And his tongue kept bleeding throughout the entire game. It was still bloody at the very end.
At the interview.
Gutsy performance. Yep. Absolutely. I also want to mention Taekwon Glass because although he got the penalty that he shouldn't have got, I thought his coverage was very good all night, and his interception was unreal. Beautifully timed dive on that interception to lock the game out.
I think the defensive backfield did very well. How many yards did Burnham have? Not many.
Yeah, but to be fair, it's Danny O'Brien.
But even still, Mike O'Reilly was at negative yardage passing.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
For his time in there. So
I agree with you on Glass. Glass has been a favorite of yours since training camp, and I've been watching him because of
Jimmy Gaines.
He's a Jimmy Gaines winner.
Because of your endorsement of him. I've been watching him, and sometimes...
We need a trophy.
Yeah,
we totally do.
To give to them and a picture.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Put it up on the wall. Jimmy Gaines winner. Yeah, perfect. Exactly. We'll work on that. All right, let's take a quick break, and then we will come back to talk about our pick'ems for this week and Josh's top 10 list of what has changed since we started the pod.
Yeah.
This is Arjun Colhoun, and you're listening to the Eskimo Empire Podcast.
You can join the Empire online.
Find us at eskempire.ca.
Check out all the new blogs and then follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
For more history, follow at Esks History on Twitter.
And even more of my pics on Esk Empire Photo.
Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to help the pod grow. Thanks again for listening. Let's get back to the show. Welcome back. This episode is also brought to you by LitFest, Canada's original non-fiction festival, and it runs in Edmonton from October 17th to the 27th. Venues are all over the city, and they will host authors and presenters giving their perspectives on such things as true crime, historic mysteries, gender identity, mental health, food culture, and so much more. You can see all of the list at litfestalberta.org, and the festival passes are actually sold out, but single tickets are available. And right now, through Alberta Podcast Network, you can use the code APNROCKS19. So that's APNROCKS19 and get $5 off of your single ticket. Check it out and get your tickets at litfestalberta.org. I know it's weird without the .com part, but
still. I thought you were going to say that when you said it was available at the Alberta Podcast Network.
Yeah, no.
Where would that be again?
Don't worry. I'll fit one in later.
Outstanding.
Yeah. All right.
It's the best part of the episode.
We have waited many, many weeks, and it is time, my friends, for the return of the Eskimo History Moment.
Let's hear you cheer and holler for a mighty famous team. Let's hear you roar, you know what, for a team that's on the beat. Our voices rise up to the skies, the fans are glad to scream. We love those Eskimos.
Welcome back to the Esks History Moment. When we think of the Eskimos since rejoining Canadian football in 1949, we talk a lot about the Grey Cup. In fact, they're often intertwined, especially in the mid-50s and the Second Dynasty era of 1978 to 82. These, however, were not the first time that the Eskimos went to the Grey Cup since rejoining the league, but very few know about that first time that Edmonton went to the Dominion Championship. Anyone?
No.
Oh, there we go. This is why we're here.
That's why we have you.
Job security.
Yeah.
That first time was when we were in our fourth year as a team in 1952, and the man responsible for taking us there was our head coach and quarterback, Frank Filchok.
Whoa.
Filchok was born 103 years ago this month in a small mining town in Pennsylvania and was a star player in high school and later Indiana University during the single wing era, where you were either a back or you were a lineman. You didn't necessarily specialize as a fullback, halfback, or quarterback, and you could alternate on any given series. In 1938, He was drafted in the second round by the Pittsburgh Pirates, who 2 years later would rename themselves as the Steelers.
Interesting.
I knew that.
Frankie appeared in 6 games that 1938 season before being sold to the Washington Redskins as a backup to the legendary Sammy Baugh. It was here that he acquired his nickname, Flingin' Frankie behind Slingin' Sammy, and he became more and more of a passer as his time with the Redskins wore on. When the United States joined the fight for the Second World War, Phil Chalk joined the U.S. Navy on active duty and returned to the Redskins after the war when they had started the now modern T formation of offense, and throwing the ball became even more of a priority. The New York Giants and future CFL head coach Steve Owen recognized the need for a prolific passer and traded for Phil Chalk to head up his team, and it was his time with the Giants that shaped Phil Chalk's future in football. In the 1946 season, Flingin' Frankie set personal bests with 1,262 yards passing and 12 TDs, which was quite large for that era, and the team was expected to go all the way to win the NFL championship. On December 15th of that year, the title game against Chicago Bears was abuzz with a story that broke just hours before on the radio that gamblers were attempting to fix the game, and that Frank Phil Chalk and another player were involved, having been offered $2,500 each, plus the profits of a $1,000 bet that the Bears would win by more than 10 points, as well as off-season jobs. Phil Chalk denied the allegations and was allowed to play the game, which the Giants lost 24-14, exactly 10 points separating the winner from the loser. At trial a month later, the gamblers were convicted of bribery, and NFL headman Bert Bell suspended both Giants players, even though the trial judge had labeled Phil Chalk as not an accomplice, but just an unfortunate victim of circumstances. With no teams in the United States willing to sign the passing star, Phil Chalk found that at least 2 teams in Eastern Canada were eager to sign him, and he signed with the Hamilton Tigers for the 1947 season. Unfortunately, the Canadian Rugby Union, precursor to the CFL, refused to allow him to play. However, the Tigers played 4 games with him anyway, which were promptly announced as a forfeit. Finally, the CRU relented, and he could play in Canada. After another year with the Tigers, and then playing for Montreal in 1949 and 50, where he won the Grey Cup in his first year, Phil Chalk finally started considering life after football. Out west, the Eskimos have been slowly improving in the few years since they rejoined the league, upsetting the Saskatchewan Roughriders in the West semifinal in their second year. The only head coach they had known, Anis Stukas, was tiring of coaching and wanting to go back to newspapers, so he announced that in 1951 would be his final year on the sidelines. Phil Chalk was approached to come to Edmonton as both quarterback and backfield coach, signing on February 6, 1951, with the expectation that he would take over from Stuk the following year. Stukas was a traditionalist and stubbornly kept the Eskimos using the now outdated single wing, while the rest of the football world, both north and south, was adopting the T formation. And while the Eskimos improved yet again in 1951, going 8-6 and finishing in second place for the first time, they lost the best-of-3 West final to those Saskatchewan Roughriders with their own star quarterback, Glenn Dobbs. As promised, Phil Chalk became the second head coach in green and gold history and installed the modern offense for that season. With second-year Eskimos Normie Kwong and Rolly Miles, and Phil Chalk splitting quarterback duties with first-year Claude Arnold, Edmonton improved to 9 wins and a tie on the season against 6 losses, again good for second place, and once again went to the final game of the best-of-3 West final, this time beating the favored Winnipeg Blue Bombers 22-11 in the last contest on November 11th. That date is key. Back in the early 1950s, the championship game was not played a week after the West Championship, and the Eskimos had to wait nearly 3 weeks between winning the West and playing for the Grey Cup.
Wow.
For example, 4 days after the Eskimos finished their grueling 5-game playoff series between the semifinal and final games, the Toronto Argonauts started the playoffs with a 3-game series versus Hamilton, now named the Tiger Cats, before the East Final against the Sarnia Imperials, and then finally the Grey Cup, played in November on November 29th. Edmonton started strong, with Normie Kwong scoring the only points in the opening frame on a touchdown 13 minutes into the game. Toronto clawed back in the second quarter, as Argo quarterback Nobby Werkowski scored a touchdown 3 minutes in, and the Red Edinger conversion gave hometown Toronto a slim 6-5 lead. This is back when touchdowns were only worth 5 points.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah.
Before a field goal and another Argo touchdown opened the floodgates, and the teams went into the half with a score 15-5 for the Double Blue. Both teams battled hard in the third quarter, Normie Kwong scoring his second touchdown 10 minutes in, and with Bill Snyder's convert, brought the game to 15-11 with the final quarter left to play. Unfortunately, the Green and Gold had run out of gas by the end of the game, and with Toronto scoring one final major, the score ended 21-11, sending the Eskimos home tired, battered, and dejected. Edmonton fans, however, welcomed their heroes home with jubilation and a parade, and cries of, "We'll get 'em next time," echoed along Jasper Avenue. Phil Chalk believed the improvements over the year had warranted a pay raise, as did the team. However, just how much of a raise was the cause of much dispute. And on December 19th, 1952, the newspapers announced that Phil Chalk was done in Edmonton. Edmontonians were dismayed, but of course their sadness didn't last long. Within 2 years, they were hoisting the Grey Cup for the first time, and names like Parker and Bright joined that list of heroes. But for that brief shining moment in 1952, Edmonton fans held their heads high and celebrated the passing and offensive skills of the man they called Flingin' Frankie.
Going for a touchdown. Going for a touchdown. Going for a touchdown. We love those Eskimos.
Flingin' Frankie.
I love the history moment. I love it.
That was awesome.
Cheers to that. Cheers to that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Cheers to that. That was well done.
Cheers to that.
It's funny, Frankie was reinstated in the NFL like 1950.
Oh,
so
really?
He was allowed to go back. And he was the first head coach of the Denver Broncos.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
in 1960.
Is he in the Hall of Fame?
No, he wouldn't be. I think the scandal was enough. It's funny because 100 years ago this month was the Chicago Black Sox scandal.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
Yeah,
wow.
Where they did take a bribe and 8 men were convicted of throwing the World Series, which they did.
Wow.
What's that film?
Crazy.
Is it called 8 Men Out?
8 Men Out.
8 Men Out.
And then Field of Dreams as well.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
I love those guys. So.
Wow.
Yeah,
crazy.
It's too bad. Frankie was, I've got film of 1953 game where we played Saskatchewan where Frankie Phil Chalk was the head coach there.
Oh, awesome.
And it was filmed and dedicated to Frankie because it was one of his few wins that year was against his former team here.
Oh, awesome.
So,
wow.
Yeah, great guy. But
yeah. Oh, that's pretty. That's wild.
Yeah.
That was very good. Always loved the return to the history moment. So thank you, Superfan, as always. Now, Josh, before we get to our pick'ems, you also have a feature today because you have I
have a listicle.
10, a listicle.
There it is.
That was the word I was looking for. Yes, which sounds awfully like a word that we should all be giggling at, but let's go with a list. That's what I was thinking.
Yes. It's an article that's a list, so it's a
listicle. Oh, is that's what it is?
That's
you
right.
were going to go to bed smarter than you woke up.
Sure. You think I'm going to remember that in an hour? It's very good.
Well, anyway, thank you again, guys, for having me back. It's an honor to be here. This is my top 10 things I like about the podcast since I was co-hosting way back when it was in the other corner of the
dark corner.
The dark corner, as you said last week.
I haven't even seen this dark corner. I wonder why.
That's why you're still coming back.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That may be it.
Yeah.
Well, one of them was already on the... can I repeat the one from...
Yes, so start from number 10.
First, I have a bonus.
Okay.
There's more booze.
There's more booze. there is that.
Okay, number 10. Superfan makes me like food I've never heard of.
Perfect.
The garlic Parmesan waffle fries.
Do those
Still
exist?
like all those words.
Where do you get those?
They were at first round.
Oh, were.
It was a
they were
special.
Yeah,
are they
were
gone?
a special thing.
It was only on just that 1 week.
And then we keep trying to tell them they need to bring them back. They were unreal.
They were.
They were
Or you just offer it at tailgate.
Oh,
could we? If we could find a way to make them, I don't know.
we can make them.
It's the waffle part that confuses me.
It's you know what? Yeah,
We'll make
Superfan will find a way.
It's going to happen next year.
Perfect. It's on the
It could
list.
be tater tots.
Okay, number 9.
Ew.
Number 9. Microphones for everyone.
It's true. Don't have to hand it around.
Or at least it sounds like it, yes, because there was a time that someone would say something,
it around.
pass the microphone over,
That's
and
really funny.
there was a cable. Sometimes you have to be careful to get it under the right person.
Oh, that's outstanding.
Yeah.
It's blowing my mind.
Number 8, Kayla's honesty when she doesn't know something. Half the listeners don't know too, and you're helping them out. So well done to you.
Ooh, like that.
Well done to you.
All this room sometimes.
Number 7, Mike and Andrew debating O-line performance. For my money, you can't get enough of that.
Oh, wow. We do that a bit.
More often than not, we actually agree.
Yeah, I guess we do.
Opposing viewpoints.
We don't take, we just for fun.
Just because. Number 6, Kayla and Andrew pop culture references superfan does not get. I did it at the beginning. I did it at the beginning. I was like, I brought my own mic. Where's that from? Everyone? Anyone?
Actually, I don't know what that's from.
The Simpsons.
Oh,
The Simpsons.
Okay.
When Homer is the union rep, and he goes on to Dateline.
Yeah, I brought my own mic.
Yeah.
I have my own mic here all the time. That's true.
Aw, my own mic. Number 5, other podcasts. Man, this is good. Especially Ryan at Horseman and the chance to show him up.
Oh.
I'll tell you, like you seriously guys, you adding other people's viewpoints. I mean, that one episode where you had Ryan in, it was your birthday, and he said, I'm not the stripper that Mike wants, but I am the one that he deserves.
Right.
I laughed about that all summer.
It's true.
And like
exactly.
he is very, like, he drives me crazy, but man, is he a good
funny.
interview.
He's a fantastic villain.
Oh my! Oh, he's a brilliant villain.
Yes. Yeah. He plays that role very
Which
well.
is so funny because on Big Brother, he was the complete opposite, in my opinion.
Well, and in real life, he's a good dude.
Yeah.
Oh, I imagine you guys
loves his team, and he knows how to play a villain very well.
Let's just say somebody watched a lot of wrestling growing up.
Yes, I
he's
agree.
super respectful. He's just he's really good.
He's a big ginger. Can't hate a ginger.
Aw. Yeah. Okay, number 4, the writing. Guys, the writing is so good. History, Esks News, the betting lines, which I still don't understand, but the writing is really good.
Good thing we don't have a prop back this week.
My wife doesn't let me bet, so I can know what to do.
I don't let me bet.
They're words.
Number 3, the dulcet tones of Superfan's voice, especially with history. It's just every time I hear it, I'm like, oh, I could just
Ask
go to
Audible
sleep with
if they'll hire you.
There we go.
Well, we've said it many times. The dulcet tones of Superfan.
I've had 2 separate people tell me that my voice sounds like Paul Giamatti.
My voice gives me away, evidently, yeah. I never thought I had a distinctive voice, but evidently I do. Yeah. People get turned on by it.
2 completely independent
Really?
I just heard it now. You are Paul Giamatti.
Wow. I get a lot of people tell me I sound like Pee Wee Herman, so it's great.
No, that's Zach Galifianakis.
That's right, yes.
Anyway.
She's mistaking Zach Galifianakis for
Paul Giamatti.
Paul Giamatti. But Paul Giamatti.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Not a video podcast. That was outstanding.
She was just checking her hair.
Yes.
Okay, number 2. Kayla telling Andrew to shush.
Oh.
Now that has got to make my decade in podcast listening. I have never ever heard anyone do that to Andrew Hoskins before, even in real life. Like it just funny. And he's like, but it's my podcast.
Did you just shush me? What's going on here? Yes.
Up is down.
That was funny. It was very funny.
Okay, finally, the number 1 thing I like about the podcast since I was co-hosting: once you co-host, you get to keep your title for life.
That's true. Absolutely.
So thank you for that. Thank you so much for having me back, guys.
Yes.
Just like being president.
Just keep it for life.
So you get always have it.
Cheers to you all.
Cheers
to
you all. Yes, that was awesome.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
I think I have a splash left.
Oh, yeah.
Smash it.
Whoa, that Thanksgiving beer.
Don't talk before you're finished swallowing. That's the trick of that.
Is that your pro tip for the week?
Yeah, I like to give pro tips. That was it.
It just takes practice, Andrew. Keep trying.
Yeah, I'll keep working on it. Absolutely. Well, thank you for that list. That was outstanding. Yes, and for someone who's been here for all 5 seasons, you know what that's like. Yeah. So let's get to our pick'ems for this week. We don't have an Eskimo game to pick, so luckily for you, no prop bet that you don't understand.
Thank goodness. Oh my gosh.
We will, however, to pick the other games. In our league, Derek still has the lead. Mike, you are now in 12th.
Yeah, it was not a good week.
And I'm up to 33rd. I'm slowly working my way back up.
One at a time, right?
I'm never going to get anywhere close to the top 10, but still, it's funny.
Okay, no, I just have to plug myself 4-0. Sorry.
Ooh, well done. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because you picked Winnipeg, too.
Which blew our minds.
I know, right?
You always pick Montreal.
I know, but I just had a feel that gut.
You got gut
thing. Yeah.
So this week, take Kayla's picks, not either of ours.
Because I don't ever go 2 in a row.
She's retiring undefeated.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So 4-0. Like, did the planes go over? Did you get free gas for the whole week? All that type of thing.
Nothing. I just was in my own head of look how awesome I am.
Weird.
Sometimes that's reward enough.
That's enough. Yeah, works for me. All right, our first game, Toronto versus Montreal. This one is in Montreal. Commissioner, you get to go first.
Going back to the roots.
That's right.
Montreal.
Yeah, okay.
Do I have to explain myself?
Probably not, because I have a feeling we're all picking the same. Josh?
Fair.
Well, I realized this when Pinball took over and announced to anyone who would listen that every single player in the Toronto Argonauts roster was up for grabs.
Sure.
And so they've pretty much put this season to bed, Montreal.
Okay, that's true.
I actually thought you were going to go the other way.
No.
Mike?
You know what? Montreal's nothing to play for. They can't get first.
That's true.
They can't get out of the playoffs. They are in second place. So
yeah.
If it was a different team playing them, I'd be like, yeah, they're ripe for pickings.
Absolutely.
But I just don't think Toronto is that team. I think they've improved.
Toronto's defense is that
I thought
team.
Montreal could still play for first.
No, not anymore.
They don't even have the opportunity.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
They will be second no matter what.
Okay.
Yeah.
If they lose all or win all out. So if it was, again, a different team, I would say they're ripe for the picking, but they're not.
Do you think they're still going to play Vernon?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
Make sure you get into the playoffs on a high note.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm going to make the sweep here. I'm going to go with Montreal as well. Although the pinball thing did kind of make me go,
I think he'll play better.
He'll start to fire up the guys because he's like the uber motivator, right?
He is.
Yes. We all love that about him. We're all excited that he's back in the league for those types of reasons, but
no one wants to make pinball mad.
No.
Oh, did you say back in the league? I thought he was always connected to the Argos in some capacity.
He was kind of out VP. He's been out for a while because he was working on his charity and things, and now he's come back in, right?
Oh, they must have
just when you think he's out.
Yeah, that must have been quite the offer to entice him back, because I remember him saying that was it.
Like, he even said,
I thought he was going upstairs.
Please. Yeah, he even said at the interview, he said, they asked me once and I said no, and they asked me again and I said no, and then and then after that loss, I just kind of thought this is bigger than me, and so that's why he took it on.
Outstanding.
Right?
Well,
I love pinball.
Typical pinner.
Yeah, absolutely. Montreal right across the board there. Saskatchewan versus BC. This one in BC. Josh, who do you have? This is probably all of the picks are easy this week. I think, except for maybe one.
I really want BC to beat them because I would like them to lose the last 3 games.
Well, sure. That's what we'd like.
And then we would play third if we beat them the next 2 games, as Superfan alluded to.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stick with that, BC.
All right.
Oh, wow.
Excellent.
Intriguing.
Picking with the heart.
Yeah.
Superfan?
Love me some Dobby, but that's not going to happen.
Exactly.
I think that had Mike Riley been there, maybe there's a possibility, but with Danny O'Brien even getting those first string reps, I just think that they've dropped quite a bit of a level. It's not even the skill of his quarterbacking, it's the fact that Mike Riley is, when you look up the word leader in the CFL, it's Mike Riley's picture, and with him gone...
But he's not going anywhere, he's still there.
He's still there, but it's not the same when you're on the field. You need to lead that offense, and your team has to believe in you 100%. And, I mean, Comeback Riley is a nickname he's had as well as Warrior, so... I just don't see them rallying around Danny as much. And Saskatchewan has a lot to play for. But to be fair, what are they winning exactly by getting third in the West? They get the right to maybe play Calgary in Calgary. I don't know if I want that prize. I mean, Hamilton and Hamilton's not great either.
Yeah, exactly.
So, either way, it's not great. Maybe we'll,
Do you think Saskatchewan starts benching players? No,
I think they might.
I don't think so.
No. Okay. I don't think you can.
I think they still have a shot at first.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
Win everything they can. If they locked down first, it might be different.
Right.
But they have a chance at first.
How many games in before they lock it down? After our second?
I think they have to do 2 more. They have to play 2 more. I think if
they beat us,
if they win twice, like if they win BC and then they beat us that first game, I think they lock down first.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure. Because Calgary won this past week.
Correct.
That's right. Yeah. So
it
might
depends
go right
on
to
other
the
teams.
End. Yes.
So it comes down to the wire with us.
Does play
if they
Calgary
can win out,
yeah.
Nope. They play BC, us.
Doesn't Calgary still have a bye week too coming up?
I don't.
But I don't think so. I thought they already had theirs.
Or we can play spoiler for them then if we beat.
Correct.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Someone has a bye week coming up because
BC will have one in the
Bombers
week.
are 10-6 and Calgary's 10-5, and so is Saskatchewan. So I guess the Bombers.
So I think last week.
Yeah,
the last week
Bombers have the last week. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to go with Saskatchewan in this. I think they go all out. And fact of the matter, again, and I think as much as you said the leadership side of it, I think BC's offense is made around Mike Riley and the passes that he can make. Danny O'Brien has a little bit of different skill set. So I would say that I don't think he executes that offense the same way. So that's
I'm not even sure who the third string quarterback is. I don't think they were carrying one on the roster.
I have no idea. Yeah, so
I better find somebody.
Oh, Del Willis.
Hey, he can do it all. Yeah.
True.
Saskatchewan, BC. Anything else? Any different from you?
I really want to pick BC, but with, like you just said, with Mike Riley, if he was in, I probably actually would have, because they want to at least go out with a bang.
Is this their last home game for BC?
No. They play 2 more home games.
Yeah.
But it's still just to finish
Every
the
BC
season.
has 3 more home games?
No, because there's a bye. So it's home game, bye, home game.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's still just to finish the season strong. Like the speech that both Odell and Mike preached, I guess, was, you know what? We have nothing to play for except for ourselves and our teammates and who we are as a team. And as much as I want that to be a motivation, I just don't think they can pull it out against a really hot Saskatchewan that has something to play for.
Yeah.
A lot to
I
play
tend to
for.
agree. Yeah,
So,
a lot to play for.
you know what I'm going to pick, but I don't want to say it because it's gross.
That's fair. I understand. All right. Ottawa versus Hamilton in the Hammer. Superfan, tell us why Ottawa's going to win this game.
No.
Okay. I thought I'd try.
Because it's opposite day. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Hamilton, again, is nothing really to play for. They've got first place no matter what, but they still want momentum going into those playoffs. They do have a bye week that first round.
Right.
Ottawa is still such a hot mess
right
now. They have so much to work out. I don't know if that's going to cost Rick Campbell his job.
Not sure.
In the off season. So who knows? Maybe we'll swap coaches at some
Oh,
point.
hey, Superfan. I was going to ask you, what have you heard of the rumor that Jason and Rick swap places?
Anything's possible. I don't know if that's something that's really going to be overly useful. It's going to depend on exit interviews. It's going to depend on
But the possibility that there are actually 2 head coaches that are currently coaching the other teams, just like Chris Jones and Jason Moss in the Grey Cup.
Could be interesting.
But this is head coaches now.
Yeah, not OCs and head coaches.
We also didn't have a salary cap back then on coaches.
Right.
We do this year.
Yeah.
Now, if he takes a job with another team at the same position, then absolutely. But I that's a lot of things that can happen between now and then. I think that for now we're riding with Jason, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. All right. And Hamilton's winning, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hamilton's winning this game. Kayla?
Are we resting our starters in Hamilton?
That's what I have to ask.
Not yet.
Not, you don't think?
I don't think.
I think we are.
You?
I agree.
Why wouldn't you?
I agree, Commissioner.
If you have nothing, if you're going to be in first, why would you play your starters? You already have Mazzoli out. Why would you risk Dane Evans at this point?
Good point. See, the silence speaks volume.
I don't know. I can see it in the last game of the year, but I think they're coming off a bye. They still want to make sure that they've got everything.
Yeah, I don't think
I would say
like,
pull a few reps, but the whole game. Personally, I don't know.
But does it matter? Even
I was just going to say it's against Ottawa.
It's against Ottawa, though.
Yeah, I know, but crazy
even if they only play a
in
half,
this league.
they could already be up by 35.
And I don't think they'd rest Dane for the last game because they have the bye at the end.
Right. Oh, yes,
the second last game, maybe.
Well, Hamilton has a. Hamilton has
a
potential 4 weeks.
No. This was the second last game.
The bye being the first round of the playoffs, they have a bye that week.
Okay, but not the last week of the season.
That's what I thought. I thought you said they had to buy the last week of regular season and then they're out.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
But that happened to, remember that happened to us in, is it 2014?
Yes,
2015.
We were out for like 3 or 4 weeks or something.
Right. And the bye the week, then the West semi. And
Yeah.
Okay.
So?
I don't know. I feel like something weird is going to happen. I don't know why.
She's picking the Red Blacks.
Well, someone has to at some point.
All right.
Pity vote.
All right.
But
I don't know if Janine and Michaela and Rob are picking them up. But we'll see.
You know, I have nothing to play. I got my 4-0, so I'm pretty happy twice this year.
Okay, good job.
I just
Excellent.
feel
You're right.
something bizarre is going to happen this week.
Okay.
Because we're not playing, so I'm probably projecting.
Boom.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
you're taking the Red Blacks?
I think I am.
All right then. Wow.
Crazy
good for you.
enough.
Okay.
And I'm in solidarity. Red Blacks.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Really?
The nerds.
Jeez, I did not
The
expect
nerds.
that at all, but all right then. That's
May the force
excellent.
be with you, Commissioner.
Oh, yes, you as well.
Last
We're gonna
game.
need
And
it.
also with you.
Which
No,
will be
that's
what
me.
exactly, yeah. Well, probably the harder one to pick. Winnipeg versus Calgary. This one is in Calgary, though. Winnipeg came on last week, played a good game against Montreal. I think this is going to be the game of the week, but I am going to go with Calgary at home because they rarely lose at home. That's the thing.
It just doesn't happen.
And they whine about every other penalty, and then it
And so does
somehow
Bo.
works out for them.
Everyone's
That's
against
what I mean.
them.
Absolutely.
It's
and
a
I'm going to cry
conspiracy.
about it
It's
and
the
not
deep
look at the
state.
camera when I'm doing an interview because I'm a jerk. Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, so Calgary at home.
Not
yes.
a video podcast.
Kayla?
That's what I think.
It's a good pouty face, though.
It's really hard to pick against the Stamps in Calgary because I hate being there so much myself. I understand what it's like, Bombers.
Anyone but Calgary.
I feel for you. I really do. And I really want to pick you, but I don't think... I mean, I screwed up my vote with the Red Blacks anyway, so... You know what? I need a moment.
Okay.
I need a
All right,
moment.
then. I will come around to you. Josh?
Okay, well, I hate both teams, and I think that Winnipeg is...
It's fair.
I think Winnipeg is one of the biggest frauds of the season.
Oh,
and I think that, so with that, and the fact that they are in Calgary, and that Winnipeg is, and that, a reminder of the little asterisk beside the Canadian running back there for any awards that he might get that we shouldn't be considering. When my son says, when my son who plays with minor football says, "Dad, what do you mean he's been suspended for drugs?" And we have to explain that a Canadian that we look up to, isn't playing anymore. That's beside the point. That's editorial. Right now, we're going to say that Winnipeg loses to Calgary in Calgary.
All right, then. Superfan?
Yeah. You know what? Strevler is a fantastic running back.
He is.
Not totally sold on him as a quarterback.
It's true.
The longer he plays, the more he seems to get figured out by opposing defenses. Yep. We've seen it with so many players in years
last
before.
Week.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think Montreal's been very lucky in a lot of this stuff. It's not that they're not good; they are good, but I think they've also had a lot of luck that they've had the bounces go their way, and sometimes they don't, and that's what happened, I think, in Winnipeg. So, but this case, no, Calgary, no chance. 18-0. Sorry, I blacked out for a second.
What the hell?
Whoa, that just sounds like the guy from the Horseman podcast.
Ryan just
blacked out and I had all his red hair.
Nice.
Weird.
Also not possible at this point, but still. Okay. So I clean sweep on that one.
Oh.
And coming back.
So, not a clean sweep necessarily.
Well, are you picking?
I have a question before I pick.
Yes.
Why? Okay, I understand that Nichols is hurt, so they needed quarterback. Will there be any possibility of Caleros play?
Good question.
No, I don't think so yet, because you have to still learn the playbook.
Yeah.
Well, then what is he doing there? Because Pin
He's probably
said
helping
that
him
he's
break down
coming
film.
back.
But the thing is he could be, he's learning the playbook. If something happens to Strevler, he's the insurance policy.
And he's also
They didn't
helping
have one
he's
before
helping
him?
break down film.
Y'all got to dress him.
No, you don't.
No.
You really don't.
But he ain't dressed.
USC has gone through so much.
Who's the third stringer after Strevler?
Well, that's what I was wondering before
Bennett,
Caleros.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
now they-
I think he will be in there in case of emergencies, but oh my God, I'd hate to see him. He lasted 3 plays
Yeah.
so far this season.
Yeah.
Very questionable hit at best.
But still,
yeah, he can't. Yeah.
It's just
You're
a
saying it
curious
couldn't happen?
move.
Did you not see the last game?
No, I did. I don't want him to play.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I do not want him to get hurt.
Oh my goodness.
I don't want to see.
He should please retire. Please retire.
Yeah.
Zach
Exactly.
Caleros.
I 100% agree with you. 100% agree with you. So
It was just an interesting play of events that...
sure. That's
In the
fair.
playoffs, I could possibly see it
Sure.
happening, but I don't
Sure.
think between now and then.
And don't please retire out of spite. Please retire so that you can
Safety.
have a future
Yeah.
and you
Yes.
can work for
not
the
going
next
to
And
keep you
Nichols
for a
is-
straw the rest of your life.
And Nichols is out out for the rest of the year?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it sucks because freaking Calgary and their like awesome, stupid, smart coaches and organization that will probably watch film relentlessly and win this stupid game. Calgary.
All right. There we go. The pick that I just said was going to be a clean sweep is a clean sweep.
But
All right.
I didn't actually.
You did? No, you had to think. I gave you time to think about it, but I was pretty sure that was how that was going to play out.
You did have to.
You're accurate.
yeah. Okay, there you go.
That's number 2.
CFPN Fantasy League. I go to 11-7 after Mike wins the Empire Civil War, and it was not even close. I had the worst week.
I had the best.
You had an awesome week.
Weird.
Scoring the top points again.
I had a couple of players that I ended up I had them on my roster and then took them off, and they had, between the two of them, 48 points.
Like, yeah.
Who had? Was it you who had William Stanback?
No.
Nope.
No. Somebody else must have posted on Twitter, and there's like so many no points because everyone was
negative.
out.
Yeah. Well, see, my big roller this week was Burnham, and then Mike Riley got hurt, and that all got shot out.
But
the
even
window.
still, before he got hurt, nothing.
He got shut down.
I think Edmonton is built to play against BC after last year.
Yeah, possibly. So I drop out of first, but now I'll just have to come to you for pointers.
There you go.
Yeah.
Don't call it a comeback.
This week, I get to lose to Brazilian Tie.
Good for you.
And you get the free space in BB Can Ryan.
Oh, there we go. I should just pick all stamps.
That's right, yeah. That would be perfect because, you know.
We could tie.
You could tie, yeah, which would be really funny,
That
actually.
would be.
That would be very good. In the Empire League, Baltic Fox has a very comfortable lead.
Yeah.
I'm in 4th, and you're up to 28.
Look at me go.
You're working your way. See?
Top 30.
We're starting to make those rolls a little. We're going
right.
to end up right in the same spot.
Yeah, right in the middle.
Yeah, perfect. All right. Well, Josh, thank you again for coming out and being part of the show.
Thank you for having me back, guys.
Blast as
So
always. Tell everyone where they can find you on social medias and things.
Yeah, exactly. At Joshua Semchuk, JOSHUA
There it is.
Wonderful. Love it. See, it's
smooth.
It's like you've done it before.
It's like
weird. Commissioner, where does everybody find you?
At Duchess Lombardi, and my photos at Ask Empire Photo.
Perfect. Super fan.
They find me right here every Monday.
That's correct.
Or on Twitter, they can find me at 56 Parkies.
And the history?
Oh, that's true. It's at Esks History.
Yeah, come on, plug your stuff, man.
I got to help you out with that. You got to do more of that.
Yeah, I know.
Come on, man. Let's go. All right.
It's been so long.
I know. You can find me at Freepalicious, of course, the show at Esk Empire Pod. Make sure you're following Pay It Forward with Football on Facebook and get those nominations in. The deadline for the Grey Cup nominations is October 31st, so the draw will happen a couple of days after that. Mm-hmm. The package actually does include 2 tickets to the Grey Cup, 3 nights accommodation, and a $500 Visa gift card.
Wow,
so
that's
it's an amazing prize that they are just giving away to somebody who has a good football story for them. So make sure that you get in touch with Quentin and Samantha, and man, kudos for them for everything that they're doing.
Absolutely.
The couple that came to the game on Saturday, Shelley and why is his name totally blocked in my head? Jared. Shelley and Jared, I'm pretty sure. That's horrible, but I know Shelley for sure.
Yes.
Came to the tailgate, was an amazing time to chat with them. They're so grateful. They were so happy to be there, spending their Thanksgiving weekend getting to watch some Eskimo football. So, the whole thing is amazing to me. So make sure that you support them as much as you can. Make sure, of course, you check out all the great shows on the Alberta Podcast Network that you can find at Alberta Podcast Network. .com. There you go. Yeah. And find us and all of our social channels on our website, eskempire.ca. And we will be back next week. We're working on a very possible fun guest in a possible different location.
That's true.
We shall see.
Another fun guest.
Exactly.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Man, that's very
Did
sweet.
I not say... Make it sound like it was not?
Well, no, I'm just saying, you know, got to
Josh
throw
brings
Josh some
beer. You can't overlook
Absolutely. Good beer, too. It was very tasty. Yes, I appreciate that.
Thanksgiving beer.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Wonderful. So, yeah, we'll keep you updated on that. So, our question this week, is it time to heal up this week and get a few guys back before the playoffs?
Absolutely.
For Josh, Commissioner Kayla, and Superfan Mike, I'm Andrew. Remember, you can't catch footballs with your face, and we will absolutely talk to you next week.
Thanks for listening. Find more great shows like this at CF Pod Network on Twitter.